Welcome to the channel and Empyrion Galactic Survival Alpha 9.4. This update was released on the 11th of February 2019 if you're watching this in the future, and originally I wasn't going to restart. I was just going to carry on with my current Let's Play. And after reading through the patch notes, seeing the fact they've introduced new POIs, they've revamped the Abandoned Factory, which only you guys watched the video I made quite recently. The Abandoned Factory was a little bit more tougher than what it was before, so I'm going to be quite interested to take another look at the Abandoned Factory and see how it goes. I think also the other big factor is that they've done a lot of rebalancing since I started that series, and I'm very interested to see how that rebalancing plays out when you restart a campaign. So I've decided to restart again, and well, I'll explain as we go on, guys. Before I get into explaining the details of this playthrough, I was deliberately starting on this screen for two reasons. One, I was asked in a comment about how you configure the avatar suit and skin color, so I thought I'd just show you where that is. I've changed my suit to a lighter color simply because the dark blue I was using before looked really great during the day, but I found it was a bit difficult to see myself at night. So I've now gone for a lighter colour. I mean, you can change here, but I'm going to stick with average face. I mean, I could do with better haircut, but I don't think there's much better. The other thing I want to show you is the fact they've now fixed this bug to do with the single player. You don't have to keep moving around now to get it, so I'm just going to click to get in. Of course, we're going to be playing survival mode. And I've already, oh, it's quite strange. I thought I'd set everything up, but obviously it's changed. And what we're going to do is just call this Alpha 9.4, I think. Very unoriginal name. The seed, I suppose this is as good as any other, so I think we'll just go with that. 379645. I'm going to use a custom difficulty settings. The base is hard. I'm going to leave the start equipment on hard. I'm going to leave the player progression on slow, because I'm just curious to see how that builds up. The degradation speed is going to be fast. These are the code defaults: food consumption, their temperature results. Now I'm going to be playing on the large planet, so what I've done is I've set the all deposits to normal, and in my previous playthrough I left the number of deposits on normal, but I've bumped it to plenty, because one of the things that was irritating me playing on the large planet was the sheer distances I had to go once I exhausted the resources round the initial start wreckage. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to resources and mine those out without spending half an hour of gameplay flying across the surface of the planet. That's the big disadvantage of playing on a large planet. The other thing I've also done is I've set the auto miner depletion to false. Now I don't normally use auto miners, but I think in this series I want to give that a go and see how well that goes. The enemy configuration is as per hard, emotive hard. I've bumped the constructor and blueprint repair speed to fast, and that's purely from the perspective of making these videos, because it's a bit difficult to keep talking when you're stood next to a constructor waiting for do something. Block limit, everything else is there, so just and the planet size is going to be large. We're going to play on the temperate planet. I don't really want to mess around with the parched mountains just yet. Maybe in the future, once I've got things go. The rest of the planet is quite there. It says planet difficulty easy, gravity normal, temperature range is interesting. Down the bottom here, resources iron, copper, silicon, promethium, and I'm going to click start. And while the game is loading, I'm just going to talk about the objectives of this series. Now I've had a couple of comments about people saying that I don't explain a lot of the game details from the perspective of a new player. So for any of you guys who are experienced players, you may find that the initial start of this playthrough might be a bit frustration, because it may sound a little bit like an in-game tutorial. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the background of the game and some of the basic mechanics. So apologies for any of you guys who may not, want that information. I'll try and keep it as streamlined as possible. Now the scenario is that we're coming to the planet on a drop pod. That's encouraging. We've got water. I think what I'm going to do is head inland a little bit and see if we can find any rocks, because I'm looking for rocks. There's some skeletons there. I can't see. There's some rocks there, and there's some bushes that could be useful. And we're just coming down here. I think that would be a good place to crash on the planet, and of course we're going to crash quite spectacularly. And here we are, guys, and of course the first thing we're going to do is just jump in here. Oh, and I think I'm going to do the missions, because in the last playthrough I kind of skipped over them, and as I said, I want to do this as more of a new player, so I think I'll do the mission. It says we've got to open the PDA, so we're just going to open the PDA. This is the missions things, and what I want to do in this playthrough is we're going to do the tutorial. We're going to probably do all these missions all the way through. So we've opened the PDA log and we're in. And you can see, because it's a hard starting, we're a bit unhealthy. We've got food. I'm just going to come in here. It says here what we've got here. Eat and heal. So we're going to have to eat this. Now, if I wasn't playing this inline game tutorial, I wouldn't actually use the health pack here. I'd like to keep the health pack, but we've got to follow the tutorial. I'm just going to drop the tent down on there as well. Cool the bit back down. I'm just going to get in here. And we've got to pick up some rocks. Wow. Okay. So let's just get out and about and see what we can find. Now, I am going to follow the tutorial. But at the same time, I'm not going to let it blindly lead me. Now, for any of you guys who are not familiar with the game, this is the starting position. If you start on normal, you normally get a little bit more than what I've got now. I'm just going to carry a rock drill. And what you need to do is just gather the basic resources. Now, the thing you also want to remember is that with this game, and there's a big change with Alpha 9 in the sense there. I don't think this is actually there, but there's some rocks there, so we can do some harvesting. But I want to cover this. Yeah, there is now a big change in the fact that creatures are hostile, but generally out on these top plains, you're okay. The real hostile creatures come in when you get close to the tree in the form of spiders. But we're just going to grab this here, and we can now do that. And what we're going to do now is just get in here and craft one of these. Now, this natural sweetener is a very good way to heal up, but don't use it when you've just got one, because it can give, all raw food can give you indigestion, and indigestion can escalate. In fact, all forms of illness in this game can now escalate a little bit, and that can be a problem. Now, these guys here, generally keep away from them, because they can be a little bit hot. They can turn hostile if you go there. Right, it says here, distress early. And the wreckage is over there, but I think what I'm going to do is walk in that direction. It may seem counterintuitive, guy, but down next to water is actually silicon. And that is more important at the moment than getting to the base. So we're going to go this way, guys, and see what we can find. I've picked that already. To be honest, I'm in no rush to get to the base, because if you don't get to the base with at least some iron, some copper, some silicon, the start can stagnate a little bit, because I can hear someone around. And one of the important things with this game is you do want to listen to the audio cues. Now we've got some berries, so we're just going to get here. And another thing you want to be aware of, guys, is that there's no point in getting to the base until you've got to level 3. And when I mean level 3, I'm talking about this in the context of here, because what we need to unlock pretty quickly is the portable heater. If you're playing on normal level, that heater is given to you, but on hard difficulty that heater is not available. There's some copper over there, so I think we can go over and get that copper. So I'm going to work a slightly zigzag course in that direction. The other thing you also want to grab as much of is plant fibre, because plant fibre is a good source of cellulose. There's some plant fibre there we can say. Now, some players, when they play this, they're always running like this. If you press the shift key, you can run. Now, be aware that running is fine, but if you run your stamina down, you consume more food. And then that can actually give problems, especially when you're playing on a hard level like it is, because food consumption goes down quicker. So you don't really want to. And now I've got 2 of these. I can pop a couple of these. Don't worry too much about conserving the raw materials, because there's a good chance that they will spoil before you actually get a chance to use them. So we're getting plenty of iron. There's some fibre over there. So feel free to grab as much as you want as you go around, guys. And I've lost the marker. Where's the marker gone? That's over there. But I think we can go up through here. Now, as I say, the reason I'm heading for the water is that is the almost guaranteed source of silicon. And silicon can be a little bit of a pain to find. And let me just grab this and then I'll show you. If we go to the map, guys, you can zoom in and out on the map. This looks very much like an inland area. So we could get there and then effectively have to walk all the way across the planet back to here to find some silicon. The other thing also that you want to grab on the way through is a little bit of stone, and compared to before Alpha 9, stone can be quite rare. Just going to grab that. There's some berry bushes over there, so we're going to go and go off those berry bushes. The reason I'm saying you need to collect some stone is that you need stone for... I can't remember what it is now. Oh, carbon substrate. Therefore it pays. I mean, you don't want to carry too much though at the same time, because of course we're now playing with the logistics on. So if your inventory fills up, you can be in trouble. And again, just to show you something else, guys, if you look down here, you'll see that the volume is 500. When you get a suit, your carry capacity volume will rise to 700. So it's sort of, the way to think of it is that when you get a suit, you actually get a backpack. So we've now reached level 2. My main concern at the moment is that, I don't know why I drank that, never mind. My main concern at the moment is I'm not picking up plant protein, which is a little bit annoying, because what I would like to do is get some plant protein so that I can, one, get some food, because my food level is dropping at the moment and I've got nothing to replace that. And also I'd like to make some bandages. Maybe if I go this way a little bit, we can grab some more, a little bit of iron there as well. Now it doesn't show up when you mine iron, but you do get a little bit of XP for gathering there. I don't think I've got that much in the way of copper. I've only got 5 copper. I could do a bit more copper. Copper you can generally find close to trees, but the downside is you can also find spiders close to trees as well. Just going to pop that. I think we'll go towards the small wreckage. As I said, guys, I'm not in that much of a rush to go and find the base. I'd rather get the resources I need to get up and running, and I certainly would like there's some copper down there. You can just see it in there. I'm not seeing the plant protein, which is a slight cause for concern. Normally it's everywhere. But again, this is the effect of the random nature of the way the game is seeded. Some seeds you get more of some resources. I mean, I've done seeds where it's been virtually impossible to find copper, and you end up wandering everywhere trying to find it. Certainly not seeing any plant protein over here. Plant protein tends to be up on that level there. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll just curve in round here. Hopefully we might get something from the small wreckage. I mean, that would be really great if we could get something from there. Let's grab that. I mean, it'd be great to get some like tinned meat or something from here. See what we got. And of course the contents of this is totally random. Wow. Always wanted 6 plates. Hardly worth the effort coming over here. And of course the other thing you can do is do this, guys. Is just use the drone to do a bit of reconnoiter. There's nothing out over that way, so I think what we're going to do is head towards the water, get the silicon, and then start working back. Ah, there's some there. Missed it. Now I don't know if you guys can hear a slight sound happening. That is indicating that there's a, I can't remember what it's called now actually. That. It's an amphibious creature, and when you're walking around like this and you're very much out on your own with minimum defences, it's very important that you listen to the audio cues. because the audio cues will tell you what's going on. Now you can find silicon in the water. There we are. Found some silicon. That's exactly what I'm after. Just one. Oh, come on, game. Now there is a risk of walking along the water, the edge of the water like this, because the amphibians, whatever they're called, tend to. There, some ordinary rock here. We'll take that. That'd be quite useful. Has some silicon here. Yeah, the amphibians move in and out of the water, and at the moment we're not really equipped to fight them. So I don't really want to encounter one. And this is another reason why you don't want to run your stamina down at this point in the game, because the best way to deal with the amphibians is to leg it. Just pick up and leg it. No, I thought there was something there. Now I'm trying to avoid going underwater because my deterioration is very fast. If I go underwater I will drown almost immediately. It's one of the downsides of playing with this. It's the same if I start to overheat a little bit as well. So if you start to overheat, the heat effects pile up incredibly quickly. These guys are friendly, don't worry about them. Even if you shoot them by accident, they will just run away. But of course, when they're near you, it makes you incredibly nervous because you can hear them. It's the same as the friendly dinosaurs that you can hear from time to time. They're friendly, but the noise they make makes it things. Oh, these guys are just spawning in at random. Come on. That shows you how quick you've got. See, guys, you can't be underwater very long. And you can see I took a fair amount of damage. Scrap that. How am I doing? How much? I've got 11 silicon, 14 copper, 25 iron. Could really do with a little bit more silicon. There's some grain here, but to be honest, you don't have much use for grain at the beginning of the game, but it's just good for XP, and we do need to get to level 3. I'm not seeing. There's a little bit more there. Grab that. And what you're looking for is to get your ore into multiples of 5, because it's 5 ore turns into the ingots. Although in the beginning of the game, what you're actually building actually works directly with ore. And if I'll just get away from the edge here. The pangolins are okay as long as you don't shoot them. If you shoot them, you're in trouble. Just to show you here, guys, if I come here, you will see that this needs 1 iron ore, 4 copper oil. This needs 3 ore, 2 silicon, 1 copper. And that actually uses the ore itself. So really I could do with a little bit more silicon. I think we can just dash down here. Listen, this is moss scrapings. Again, early in the game, not particularly that useful, just good for XP. 1 more piece of silicon and then we'll start working our way towards the base. Come on. Come on, game. There's got to be some silicon in here. Normally there's tons of the stuff here. At least I'm losing the audio cue for the amphibian, so maybe there's only one along this coastline. Nope. So normally you see piles of silicon along here. Maybe because the beach is a little bit steeper, can't see anything here. Although we are kind of half working our way towards the wreckage anyway. There we are. I've got to be a bit careful here because this will roll away. Only one. Okay. Oh, there's another one there. That will compensate. Right, I'm happy with that. And I just want to do is mark there. So we're here, we picked this up and we're now heading in that direction. And I can't see, our cursor's gone a bit funny. And am I off for food? I don't have any. Oh yeah, I can make one of these. You can see here the confetti moss scrapings effectively do nothing. These are good against poisonous bite and indigestion. So what you can do is we'll pop a couple of these because these are going to expire fairly soon anyway. Just going to pop that. My mouse has gone a bit funny. I think I'm going to have to clean it, but I'll do that after the video. Right, keep away from those guys. Not with me about to say spiders aren't normally around in the creatures. The trouble is I don't want to hit the insect because in some ways they're more trouble than the actual the insects are more trouble than the spiders because they can stun you. But eventually the insects generally lose interest, but the spiders will just keep following you everywhere. And this is the best way I've found in the early part of the game, is just to shoot them and walk backwards. And what you can do is, if you get one out on his own like this, you can start to shoot them up. Come on, he's dead. And what you want to do is loot these guys. They will give you meat, but to be honest, the meat is a bit of a waste of time because it will probably spoil before you can make it. And I certainly don't recommend eating the meat. Right. And I've lost the wreckage. Well, they've pushed us out this way, so I think I've already looted you, haven't I? Yep. So we're just gonna, I think we're just going to go straight up and across now. Grab the copper. And I think it's quite a clear indication of the way they've rebalanced the game is the fact that you can actually carry this level of... Now, I mean, just to show you guys, you can see you don't get much from this. You can see straight away, as soon as I hit that meat, I've got indigestion. So what we can do is pop one of those to clear the indigestion. So if you're going to eat meat, make sure you've got some natural sweetener or herbal leaves around to cure the indigestion, because the meat is almost guaranteed. In fact, I'll do it again, guys, just to show you. There we are. And what you can do is just pop one of those. Yeah, so don't eat meat if you don't have natural sweetener or herbal leaves, because the indigestion will escalate and you will probably end up dying. I mean, have I got to level 3 yet? Nope, I still haven't got to level 3. I was hoping with that, fighting those spiders, I would have got a little bit higher up. Let me just check. I mean, I've got 8 crushed stone. I could probably do a bit more crushed stone, to be honest. I think now we're going to start working our way towards the crash site. Now the problem I have got is we've only got just over 2.5 minutes left of the daylight, which could be an issue. But what I will do, guys, is if the night comes in, I will sleep, because you can sleep up on the plains in relative safety, and I emphasise the word relative. I really need some corn. Found some. Good. And we've now reached level 3. That's good. And what I want to do now is we're going to go up here. I'm going to unlock. I'm not going to unlock the portable constructor because that messes up the in-game tutorial, but I am going to unlock the portable heater. And what we can do now is come in here and be careful not to do this. You don't need water O2 condenser when you're playing on this planet, or not planet, or the temperate planet. What I really need now is some protein to make some bandages. So we're just going to keep moving this way, grabbing what we can, and just going to keep going, heading in the general direction of the wreckage. Yeah, and we're actually going to walk back almost past the drop pod. So if I go slightly this way, I should get into some virgin territory where we haven't been before. We might be able to open up. So if I kind of walk this way and then curve round, We're kind of walking slightly south for the moment. Not much going on here, guys. There's a pangolin, but they're no problem. Is that some stone I can really do? Or is that iron? It looks very much like iron. I mean, we got a lamp. We can turn the light on, might as well. It's getting dark. I'm just going to done this. And of course, before Alpha 9, you had to rush around a lot in the early part of the game, simply because you had the 1 day grace before all the nasties come out. Well, that doesn't apply anymore. The hostiles come out almost straight away. In fact, that looks a little bit... I think I'm going to stay out on the main plane for the moment, because that wreckage looks like it's in trees, and I certainly don't want to go into trees in the dark, because I certainly don't want to fight spiders in the dark. So I think we're going to stay up here, guys, and see what we can find in the way of food. What we got here. So what I want to do is, instead of making some food, I'm going to make a bandage. I'm going to take a chance and just to keep looking, because once it starts getting dark, it gets quite difficult to spot stuff. And we got some more. Yeah, I think if I scout across the top of here, and we'll see what we can find here. I mean, there is a torch. I mean, just to give you guys an idea as well. I mean, it's quite an impressive torch. We've got a bit of bandage now. I mean, the torch is quite impressive. The downside is that when you've got the torch equipped, you can't shoot anything. So it's good when you're in a safe zone, but it's not to be recommended if you're just out checking. But it does show up things like that in the horizon. So the torch is quite useful to have in the early game. I mean, eventually, once you've got your suit, you don't really need it. We're actually getting back towards where the escape pod's there, so we're getting back into territory that I've already searched for. We've got about 52 minutes left to go, or 52. Night is just rapidly approaching on us. I think what we're going to do is, I'm just going to put the portable heater there, because we may need it. We've got some berry there. I mean, a lot of this isn't going to last the night if I sleep anyway. I don't have as much fibre as I was hoping to get, but you can gain fibre from chopping trees down, and you can use the survival tool to do that. Let's just grab that. That's going to be useful. There's some more there. Let's just really want to... I mean, I could do with that big rock, but I can imagine how long it's going to take me to knock that down. Grab that. So just pop in another one of these. We've got... I think we're going to make one of those. Now, another trick, guys, is if you stack things on top of each other, so like, see, I've got 49 there, 42 there. If I put the 49 on the 42, it splits the difference. So it can be useful if you've got a stack there, but bear in mind that the bigger stack actually, and this is going to be quite a lot. Yeah, so sometimes when you're manufacturing berry juice and energy bars, it pays to stack them separate to keep the perish time. I'm just going to grab this, guys. Luckily there's no overheat on this tool, so you can just stand here and bang around like this straight away. But this should give me more than enough stone to do with what I want to do. The downside is that any creature creeping up on me will not show up on the radar, and that's where I was saying, guys, this is where you want to really focus on the audio cues. And the tip, guys, that's the reason why, if you're listening to this, the music is very low and everything else. So I do want to pick up on those audio cues. Right, we've got a small wreckage over there. I think I'm going to head for that small wreckage in the dark here. This does take me back to Alpha 8 or before, when you had to operate in the night just to get the maximum amount built. And Alpha 9 now, life is a little bit more relaxed. And we've got 2 bandages, We've got plenty of copper and silicon to get started. That's encouraging. I think we're going to head for that small wreckage. And what I'll probably do is once I get to the small wreckage, guys, we'll deploy the tent and sleep, I think. Because I certainly don't want to go into the trees in the dark. That'd be crazy. There's a bit more. Let's just grab that. So we're going to make another one of those. Just keep moving the light, because the last thing I want to do is walk into one of those insects. I actually did that quite recently when I was out around my base. Luckily I was wearing a heavy armour, so the creature wasn't able to have an impact, but at the moment, because I've got no armour on, those creatures can be pretty deadly. They've got a stun attack as well, which doesn't help matters very much either. Right, so now you can see what's happening now is these are the resources that are always round the wreckage, which is another reason for doing the first part of the tutorial. This looks like this is actually up, and I think that's in here. Right, good. We've got. Right, let's start sorting stuff out that I want to keep there. We've got antibiotic injection. That's good. You can see again. See the sepsis, infected wound, necrosis, open wound, dermal burn, and frostbite. And that's what I was getting at, guys, that when I was talking about that if you don't treat illnesses when you first develop them, they escalate very quickly, and in this point in the game you cannot actually treat them very well. I'm just going to drill this iron, and what we're going to do is retreat back to here. Now the downside is you can't deploy the tent up here. Just to show you guys, if I pick up the tent, what you actually do, but one thing you can do is on a base like this, you can sleep like this. So if anything nasty shows up, you're okay. So just gonna go here. The tent's in the wrong place. Put it back from there. It always seems to drop there. You can see some of the food is spoiled already, but we're okay with the energy bars. And let's get back to my survival tool. And let me just got 14. Now this may look a bit weird, guys, but I'm actually going to trash this stuff. Oops, sorry, why am I doing that? I'm going to trash this because if I now harvest this up here, that stuff that's just about to perish will reduce the perish time on this, and whenever you harvest like that, it always stacks it. You can see now we've now got back to a perish time of 59. So that's a little bit trick, guys. If you don't need the spoiled food, what you can do is just do that. Is just dump the stuff. I think the same applies. Well, the grain's going to perish anyway. The herbal leaves have already perished anyway. I'm going to hang on to some of the spoiled food because it does have its uses. Yeah, I mean that's the big difference with the energy bars and berry juice that you manufacture. You can stack them separately anyway. Oh, sorry guys, I thought I heard something creeping up behind me. Now see the blue plants here, these are a source of protein, and what I'm going to do is just move these off now so that when I make this one it will have the higher perish time. I'm just going to come here, just going to grab that. Natural stimulant is good for making this, but be aware guys that it will, if you start popping too much of that, especially if you're in an area where it's warm, that can push your body temperature up. So there is a downside of using the stamina. And what we're going to do is work our way towards that wreckage. I'm going towards the right wreckage, aren't I? Yeah. Oh wow. We're right on the edge of the Xerax territory and there's no copper yet. Okay, this could be interesting. I wonder, it's going to be real fun if the copper is inside the Xerax territory. Just grab this. That's going to give me buds. Buds have got a higher, they give a little bit of food, but they're also useful for making medicines. So I'm just going to keep walking through here. keeping an eye out for anything that might give me trouble. There's another rock there. I think we'll just grab the rock as well. Grab that. We're nearly to the wreckage, guys. And what I don't want... Oh look, there's a dinosaur. Well, it's now called a dinosaur, but originally it was a triceratops, the fun thing I could never pronounce. Right, since we found the copper... Wow, thank goodness it's not inside Xerax territory. That would have been fun. I'm just going to just grab that plant protein. It looks like there's a bit more here. It's encouraging to find plant protein and the natural sweetener here. But what I'm going to do is just pick a... I think, well, we got 3 of these. I think I'm going to push out a couple of bandages and just grab a natural sweetener. What I do is I don't harvest out everything round the base, so that if I need, say, natural sweetener or anything at short notice, it's close to. Oh, here they come. Hello, boys. Yes, tutorial. Sorry about this, guys, but concentrate on that one. I can probably kill him. I definitely need the shotgun. Right, he's dead. Just going to get in for a quick chip death. Now you do need to kill these guys because they're just going to hang around and be a real pain in the neck. Unlike the insects, if you run away from the insects, they generally lose interest. I'm getting a bit close to that Triceratops as well. There's his buddy. Come on. I want to make sure I don't hit the Triceratops because I can't resist a charge from them. And once you get them down to 1, you can actually chase them. If you keep hitting them, they will run away. There we are. Got him. Gotcha. Of course, what we can do is run the risk of indigestion again. Pop that. That will cure it. Oh, no. Sometimes you can actually get indigestion from the natural sweetener, guys. So that's the reason why I was saying that if you're going to use natural sweetener, always make sure that you've got a surplus. You've got more than what you actually need, because there's nothing worse than healing yourself and then developing indigestion. We're here at this base. This isn't a bad base actually. It's got some plots there. Of course, I think the way to get up is up here. Come on. Now, one thing I have found with these bases is that if you take everything out like that, it's not a bad haul. A little bit of fibre, but you seem to be able to put the plants back in. But yeah, this one's exactly the same. Sometimes you get a base that will let you put stuff back in here. Sometimes it won't. I don't know if that's a bug, guys. If any of you have ever encountered that, feel free to chuck it in there. And I think now it says you have found the valuables on your own, but some experience XP. And I think if we come in here now, we got to unlock and craft a portable constructor. And this is the reason why I didn't unlock this earlier, guys. The tutorial can get a little bit stroppy sometimes. Of course, we can craft the portable constructor here because we've got loads of resources. What we got here? We've got a little bit of meat. We've got some there. We're just going to let that build, and while that's building, we're going to go out and hack some trees down. Now, hacking a tree down with this survival tool is incredibly tedious. And any guys have seen a video where you can use the shotgun, one blast shotgun, that has now been nerfed. But what I will do is once I build the shotgun, we will... So we got 4 logs out of that. Maybe we can There's some more grey matter there. I'm just going to do another log here. Oh, wow. They had a heart attack, guys. I thought that was a Xerax patrol, but these are Talon. Luckily, they're not going to get upset with me because I'm not inside their territory. But so we're just going to hack this tree down. Yeah, that was a little bit disconcerting there, guys. And what we're going to do is just get back here. See the big rock spire behind the wreckage? That is a really good source of stone, but don't try and knock that down with a survival tool or even the tier 1 drill. That has got thousands of hit points and it will take a very long time. Now the downside is that deploy this, getting a bit of lag actually. I'm hoping that I can deploy this. Wow, yes, thank you. Thank you, game. Congratulations, Commander, you've successfully completed the Robinson Protocol Basic Survival. Oh, so there's still some text in there, hidden in there from the Robinson Protocol. So let's just have a quick look. Exploration. Okay, we're going to get this. And we'll see what we get. I mean, I've got a pretty good idea what it is. But I suppose what we can do is put in the oil there, put the stone in, put the fibre in, put the logs in, also put that in, put that in, put that in. Going to store the natural stimulant and the alien plants. Alien plants are not much use at the moment because you don't actually have this here. Now we've got the portable constructor, we can actually do it. But if I show you the food, guys, we can now, the first thing I'm going to do is turn them into steaks because we've now got the food. And we've now got to craft a drill. And I think we'll kick up the drill first because I'm just make sure that I've got the resources. And I probably need to unlock the shotgun. Shotguns is a very good close-in weapon and is very, very important. So I think we've got that there. Got a couple of steaks, which is going to be quite useful. So now we've got the portable constructor. We need some biofuel. And we've got the logs. So what I'm going to do is just make 2 biofuel and the shotgun. And this is why I made the nitrocellulose. If I come to, is it here? You see where it says carbon substrate. And we've got the nitrocellulose. And what we need is, I'm going to make about 5 of those. So that's the drill. And we can now drop that onto there. And while I'm just talking, actually, while I'm thinking about it, guys. Oops, nope. I think it's in here. Now we can make the armor, or we can make the bike, but I'm not going to jump that ahead of that because that's part of the tutorial. We can make light armor, but the trouble is, if you make the light armor, we don't have an armor locker to put it on with. I'm just going to come here, grab that, grab the natural stimulant, and it's going to. But thank you, game. Oops, no, sorry about that, guys. I'm getting a bit. And what we do is load. This is craft a motorbike, and this is where I was talking about. If you can see here, I come to, where is it? Nanotubes. There we are. You need carbon substrate, and to make carbon substrate, which is here, you need plant fibers and stone dust, and that's the reason why I was saying that you've actually got to gather the rock. I got there in the end. Sorry, apologies, guys. We don't really need the purified water. We're okay for food. We'll shove the grain in there because it's going to spoil anyway. We don't need the alien tooth. I'm not worried about the natural stimulants. And I think what we can, now you can make the motorbike construction kit, but what you can actually also do is just do that. And what will happen is the constructor will make the construction kit and then it will make the bike. And while that's building up, guys, I'm not going to build anything. I think what I'm going to do is just get out, and looks like there's some more plant protein here, so we're just going to go and snag that. course, that's not collectible. A bit more here. And this early in the game, what you want to do is don't use the portable constructor to make the food. Just carry on using the survival constructor. In fact, to be honest, guys, I quite use the survival constructor for the basics, even right into the mid to late game. I just find it quite there. Now you can make a chainsaw to chop the trees down, but chainsaws, I think they have nerfed it a little bit in the sense that it doesn't consume as much fuel as the past. But to be honest, guys, I think this tool's a little bit of patience. It does that, and also quite interestingly, that the survival tool picks the logs up automatically. Where if you use the chainsaw, you've got to pick it up yourself. So we got here under here, and we now got a. Move this over. We've got some shotgun shells, so we've got something to defend yourself with. Reload. Now the shotgun is very useful against insects, so now once you've got the shotgun, you've got no fear really from the insect creatures. It's also pretty good against spiders, but to be honest, I still quite like using the survival tool against spiders because it just seems to kick them. Anyway, we've got the bike. We've just got the bike on the bar, and we've now got a bike to go for a ride. It says now craft weapon, craft detector, and I'm pushing on very long. But okay, guys, what I'm going to do is just going to do this bit first. Now, I've already built the shotgun because I jumped, but I think what we can do is just knock out a couple of those and the detector, and this is where the copper comes in. And I think what I'm going to do is just make a little bit of pistol ammunition, because I've actually found that the pistol isn't as effective as it used to be. The shotgun is really close in. In fact, I can hear trouble. Let's just make sure we're reloaded, and let's see if we can. I mean, this is probably going to be complete stupidity, but see, you can often two-shot. If you're getting really close, you can sometimes one-shot these guys. There we are. So the detector is used to track down signals and POIs and other structures. You can come in here, pick the detector up, drop that on there. Just use 25 rounds. And it says explore alien signal. And again, guys, if any of you are new to the game, you see the red bar now to the north of us, which is indicating there's something to the north of us. When I come to the map here, so it's saying that there's something of interest up in that direction. Now, the unknown structure I'm going to ignore for the next part, because this is where I'm going to wind the video up. I've probably gone longer than I should have done anyway, because that is unknown territory. And before we get out there, what we need to do is set up a base, set some defences, do a bit of mining, and start to get some better kit and equipment before we start going out roving around. But this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. As I say, in the next part, we will probably get round to setting this up as a base. I actually quite like this. This is quite open. A little bit nervous about being so close to the Xerax territory. Not that I'm going to feel that they're going to intrude, but it could mean that once I start the base up and power the base up, the drones could be on us incredibly quickly. But this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. Any questions about what I've done so far, or if you want any exploration, feel free to whack it into the comments and I will try to answer you, or at the very least point you in the right direction. So until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.